When someone looks at you, shrugs off your pain, and says, "You're too sensitive," understand, this is not a statement about you. It is a mirror into them. It is not a reflection of your weakness. It is a revelation of their unwillingness to take responsibility. What you are feeling is not the issue. The issue is that they don't want to face the discomfort of your truth. "You're too sensitive" is a phrase that has been used for decades to shame people into silence. It is a tool used by those who want power without accountability. When a man says this to you, he is not trying to understand your heart. He is trying to silence it. Because if he acknowledged your pain, if he really listened to what hurt you, he would have to change, he would have to grow. And not everyone is ready for that. But you feel deeply because you care deeply. You notice the energy in a room. You catch the shift in a voice. You hear what others try to hide between the lines. That is not a weakness. That is a rare strength. The world has tried to convince you that your depth is a burden. But the truth is, it's your power. Let me say this clearly, there is nothing wrong with being sensitive. Sensitivity is not a flaw. It is a form of intelligence. Emotional intelligence, the ability to connect, to empathize, to notice, to feel. It means your soul is awake. It means you are alive in a world that has gone numb. So when he tells you, "You're too sensitive," what he really means is, "You feel more than I want to deal with." He wants you to shrink. He wants you to lower your standards for connection. He wants you to tolerate behavior that makes you uncomfortable. And the moment you speak up, the moment you say, "That hurt," or "That wasn't okay," he doesn't reflect. He deflects. He turns the conversation into a judgment of your character rather than an acknowledgement of his action. That phrase is not harmless. It's dismissive. It's the start of emotional gaslighting. Slowly, subtly, it makes you question your reality. You begin to wonder, maybe I am overreacting. Maybe I am expecting too much. You begin to second guess your truth. You stay quiet to keep the peace, but inside you're at war with yourself. And here is where the damage begins. Not just in the words said, but in the silence you begin to adopt to avoid hearing them again. You stop sharing how you feel. You walk on eggshells. You become careful, calculated, and cautious. But not because you are weak, but because you have learned that expressing your truth leads to punishment. This is not love. This is control. A man who values you will never shame you for how you feel. He will seek to understand. He will lean in. He will ask, "Help me see what I missed." Not every moment will be perfect. Not every response will be wise. But a man who truly loves you will never use your heart against you. He will never use your emotions as ammunition. He will never tell you that your tears make you less. He will know that your emotions are sacred. So what do you do when someone says, "You're too sensitive"? You listen, not to them, but to yourself. You pause and ask, "Did I feel disrespected?" If the answer is yes, then the feeling is valid. You don't need his permission to honor your own boundaries. You don't need his validation to trust your own instincts. The very act of defending your sensitivity is an act of strength. Because sensitivity is not about being fragile. It's about being real. It's about being connected enough to feel and brave enough to speak. And the more you try to suppress that part of yourself, the more you will lose touch with who you are. Protect your sensitivity. Guard it as a gift. And if someone cannot handle the truth of your heart, it is not your job to convince them of its worth. It is your job to walk away from those who treat your soul like a burden. You are not too sensitive. You are exactly as sensitive as you need to be in a world that desperately needs more compassion, more empathy, more people like you. Never let someone's inability to feel become the reason you stop feeling altogether. Let them go and let your heart stay whole. You'll never find someone better than me. At first, it might sound like confidence, maybe even certainty. But listen closely, because beneath those words is not strength but fear, insecurity dressed as arrogance, control disguised as charm. When someone says this to you, what they're really trying to do is trap you. They want to build walls around your self-worth so high that you stop believing you deserve anything more. That phrase isn't about love, it's about dominance. It's about creating a false reality where they are the best you'll ever get. So you'll stop looking, stop questioning, and stop growing. But no one who truly truly loves you will ever speak to you like you're lucky just to have them. Real love doesn't elevate one person while making the other feel small. This statement is often said when you begin to question the relationship, when you finally start to find your voice, when you begin to express your needs, your hurt, your boundaries. And instead of meeting you with reflection or accountability, they pull out the weapon of superiority. You'll never find better. It's meant to make you panic, to make you settle, to make you believe that what you're experiencing, no matter how painful, is the best it will ever get. But here is the truth. Anyone who needs to tell you they're the best probably isn't. People of true value never need to convince you. Their consistency, their respect, their actions speak loud enough. And people who love you in a healthy, secure way never make you feel like love is conditional on your submission. What's even more dangerous is how slowly this statement begins to take root. The first time you hear it, you might laugh it off. You might even question it. But if it's repeated enough, it starts to plant seeds of doubt. Maybe he's right. Maybe this is as good as it gets. Maybe my expectations are too high. That is the goal. He wants you to question your own standards so you no longer hold him accountable to them. But let me tell you something. You do not owe anyone your loyalty when they try to make you feel unworthy of more. You don't have to stay just because someone tells you there's no one better. Because the truth is, there is someone better. You. Before you were broken down. Before you were manipulated into staying silent. Before you were convinced that love is something you must earn by suffering. Anyone who tells you that you'll never find better is hoping you won't believe in yourself long enough to leave. They are betting on your fear. They are counting on your self-doubt. But if they truly believed they were the best, they wouldn't need to say it. They'd show it. And if they truly respected you, they wouldn't want you to stay out of fear, but out of freedom, because love is a choice. And control is not love. And let's be honest, if he was really the best, you wouldn't feel so empty, so confused, so alone in a relationship that's supposed to feel safe. The best wouldn't leave you questioning your worth. The best wouldn't raise their voice just to silence yours. The best would never make you feel like you're asking for too much just because you're asking for respect. So what do you do when you hear those words? You remember who you were before him. You remember your light before it was dimmed. You remember that love does not demand that you shrink. It does not demand your fear. It does not come with a warning label that says, without me, you'll have nothing. Because here's the most powerful truth: the moment you believe you deserve better, you'll start attracting it. But not until you reject the lie that says, this is the best you'll ever have. You will find someone better, not just better than him, but better for you. Someone who doesn't make you prove your worth, but recognizes it. Someone who doesn't weaponize your love, but honors it. Someone who doesn't need to say, you'll never find better, because they are busy becoming better with you every day. And until that day comes, be better for yourself. Don't settle for someone who cages you with fear. Walk away, not because they're wrong about what's out there, but because you finally know what's within you. If you loved me, you'd. Those 6 words sound harmless at first, maybe even reasonable. But listen again, not with your ears. Listen with your instincts, because that sentence is not a request. It's a test, a trap, a subtle form of manipulation hiding under the mask of affection. If you loved me, you'd stay. If you loved me, you'd forgive me. If you loved me, you'd change. If you loved me, you wouldn't question me. What they're really saying is prove your love by sacrificing yourself. Prove it by going against your own needs, your own values, your own peace. And if you don't, then your love must not be real. That's emotional blackmail, coded in guilt and spoken with just enough pressure to make you doubt yourself. This statement creates a dangerous dynamic, because real love is never conditional. Real love doesn't hold itself hostage. It doesn't dangle approval over your head, demanding payment in the form of compliance. When someone says, if you loved me, you be, what they're doing is trying to win control through emotional leverage. They want you to do something you're uncomfortable with, but instead of owning the demand, they make you question your loyalty. Love doesn't require you to break your boundaries. It doesn't ask you to abandon your self-worth. It never forces you into silence or submission. When someone truly loves you, they don't want you to lose yourself to prove your devotion. They want to grow with you, not have power over you. But let's look deeper. Why does this line work? Why does it make so many people stay, comply, bend, and break? Because love, real love, is powerful. And when we love someone, we want to show it. We want them to feel it. So when they say, if you really loved me, we freeze. We question ourselves. We think, am I being cold? Am I being selfish? And that's exactly where the control sets in. You begin to betray yourself just to avoid being accused of not loving enough. But here's the truth. The moment someone makes love a condition, they have stepped out of love and into control. They're not asking for love. They're asking for obedience. A relationship is supposed to be a place of safety, where you are free to express your truth without the fear of punishment. But that sentence, if you loved me, you'd, becomes a weapon. It silences your voice. It trains you to suppress your instincts. And slowly you begin to think that compromising yourself is normal. That if you don't say yes, you're failing at love. That if you say no, you're being heartless. But real love has space for no. Real love honors consent. Real love respects your hesitations. If someone cannot hear your no without accusing you of not loving them, then what they want isn't love. They want control disguised as commitment. Over time, this form of manipulation strips you of your power. You become a version of yourself you don't recognize. You smile while you're aching. You agree while you're breaking. You stay when everything inside you wants to run. All because someone convinced you that love must hurt, must cost you, must be proven through pain. But that's not love. That's bondage. So what do you do when someone says, if you loved me, you pee, you pause, you breathe, you check in with your soul, and you ask, is this true love? Or am I being coerced into proving something that should already be felt? Because real love doesn't demand proof. It expresses trust. Real love doesn't test you. It builds with you. And if your love is constantly under interrogation, if your heart is always on trial, then you're not in a partnership. You're in a performance. You do not need to pass someone's test to be worthy of love. You do not need to prove yourself at the cost of your identity. Love is not something you buy with sacrifice. It's something you share through truth, safety, and freedom. So when those words are used to pressure you, walk away. Not because you don't love them, but because you've finally remembered to love yourself. Because real love never begins with, if you loved Meg, it begins with, I love you, even when we don't agree. I love you, and I respect your boundaries. I love you enough to never use that love against you. Anything less than that is not love. It's control. And you deserve more. Always. That's just how I am. Deal with it. On the surface, it sounds like someone being honest, unapologetically themselves. But look again, this isn't honesty. It's stubbornness. It's not strength. It's a refusal to grow. When someone says this to you, they are drawing a line in the sand, not to protect themselves, but to warn you I won't change for you, no matter how much I hurt you. This phrase is often used as a shield. It protects ego, not integrity. It's not about being authentic. It's about avoiding accountability. It's a way of saying, I know I've hurt you, but your pain doesn't matter enough for me to even try to do better. And when those words come from someone you love, someone you've trusted, someone you've invested in, they sting because they close the door on progress. When someone says, that's just how I am, they are using their personality as a permission slip to repeat behavior that is harming the relationship. It's a built-in excuse for not listening, for not apologizing, for not evolving. It's a way to put the burden of adaptation entirely on you. It's them saying, if there's going to be any adjusting in this relationship, it won't be coming from me. You don't have to be perfect. Neither does the person you love. But there is a vast difference between imperfection and unwillingness. Imperfection means, I make mistakes, but I'm trying. Unwillingness means, I make mistakes, and I'll keep making them. Get used to it. There's no growth in that, no safety, no partnership. It's one side. Because love is not just about accepting someone as they are. It's about being willing to grow alongside each other. If your partner refuses to evolve, you're the only one doing the work. You're the one compromising, softening, apologizing, walking on eggshells. Not because they're incapable of change, but because they've chosen to stop trying. And eventually, those words, deal with it, turn into a lifetime of you silencing your voice just to keep the peace. You stop asking for change. You stop sharing your pain. You stop expecting anything different. You stay quiet because experience has taught you that speaking up won't bring growth. It will only bring resistance, denial, and blame. But here's the truth: a relationship can't survive on one person's willingness to grow. It can't thrive if only one heart is open, if only one soul is stretching, if only one partner is evolving. When someone says, "That's just how I am," what they are really saying is, "I don't care enough to try to meet you halfway." They're saying, "My comfort is more important than our connection," and deal with it. That's not love. That's emotional laziness. That's entitlement. That's someone who wants the benefits of a relationship without the responsibilities of it. Real love requires work. It requires self-awareness. It requires the humility to say, "This part of me may be hurting you. I want to understand and improve." That is what maturity looks like. That's what care sounds like. The most dangerous thing about this mindset is that over time, you begin to believe them. You begin to think maybe this is just how things have to be. That love means accepting someone's worst without the hope of ever seeing their best, that you're asking for too much when really you're just asking for respect, empathy, and effort. But don't let someone's refusal to grow make you question your right to peace. Don't shrink just because they refuse to rise. Don't accept their stagnation as your sentence. You are not asking too much by expecting a partner who is willing to evolve, who listens when you hurt, who learns and adapts, who never uses the excuse of, "That's just who I am," to justify behaviors that cause damage. You deserve someone who says, "This is who I am, but I'm willing to grow because I care about how my actions affect you." Someone who doesn't just demand acceptance, but offers growth in return. Someone who understands that love isn't about staying the same. It's about becoming better together. And if someone insists on staying stuck, if they keep using that phrase to dodge growth, if they make their comfort your cage, then it's time to walk away. Not out of anger, not to punish, but to protect the future version of yourself who deserves more than a lifetime of deal with it. You're not here to deal with it. You're here to feel safe in it, to grow through it, to be loved within it. And if that can't happen where you are, then it's time to go where it can.